Smells so good. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Get the candle going. Sexy time. It's sexy time. You like my candle? Well, you can't even hear me, huh? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There you go. Oh, your your connection's kind of bad. Where you
My
at?
house is connected to the Wi-Fi and everything.
Oh, it's because you're outside, not inside. Oh, you don't want your parents to hear, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I thought somebody might like try to come over and shit, be like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?" Shit.
Plus, there's
How'd your day
a
go?
lot of yelling in my house.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of yelling at your house. Your connection is
it's
horrible.
horrible. Shit, what should I do?
Yeah, I think because you're far from your Wi-Fi. You don't want to use your data, huh?
I could turn. Is it better?
Seems like it is
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. This is better. You having a good day?
I'm a bit disillusioned by not. I tried walking into the offices and I never spoke to an actual person. They were either like locked or the doorman wouldn't let
Okay.
me through. I made calls though.
Okay. So you're making moves, trying to get this job, right? Right on. I'm all for it. All right. So we're just gonna go through a little basic thing. Like I said before, we're gonna build it while we fly it.
Okay.
Kind of figure out as we go along. So why don't you give your name, age, and city you live in?
My name is Noemi. I'm 25, if you want to be technical. And I live in LA, South Central.
Okay. Why do you say tech?
Because I like
Oh,
to say I'm,
South Central. Oh, you in the hood.
huh?
You totally cut out. You like to say what?
I like to say I'm 23, that's why.
I know because I didn't know how old you were until like a couple of months ago, and I've known you for a year.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
What? Why?
Okay, so this is about relationships and dating and whatnot, and so I wanted to give you free advice, and so I'll let you give me. I'll do this. I will give you 2 minutes to give me your spiel on why your dating life sucks or what your problem is in dating, and we can take it from there. Does that work for you?
Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
my life sucks.
You ready?
Yes. There
All right, go ahead.
sucks because I choose the wrong people and because I don't prioritize dating. And I guess I don't know what else to say. Yeah. Uh,
Okay. Are you are you dating anyone now or seeing anyone now?
no, no, I'm not. I
Okay.
I was seeing somebody who was not good for me, and I decided it was good to end that. But you know what? I sent like
Okay.
a block message, and I have not gotten a response. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
I think someone's gonna get blocked.
Okay. Would that
No,
someone be you?
I will be doing the blocking.
Okay. So you were seeing someone for a while, you're not seeing them anymore. And so I would ask, how important is it for you to like, well, I guess what's the end goal here? Are you trying to just date around? Do you want to get married? What's your goal?
Um, I would like to find love. I don't know if it leads to marriage. I don't really like the idea of marriage. I don't really like the idea of um, living with somebody yet. Um, but I would like to find someone to exclusively date. That's as far as I've gotten comfortable with. Um, it's not like a huge priority in my life right now
Okay.
because um, yeah, because I have things I need to get done first before I start focusing on other people.
Okay. So what are the things you want to get done first?
I want to be a lawyer. I want to build my career. I want
And what
to.
kind of career is that?
I would like to eventually be a district attorney, and
Hmm.
I would like to like buy my parents at least put like a down payment on a house for my parents. Before I start focusing on someone else.
Hmm. Okay. So to be a DA would be by approximately what age?
Like 28. No. To be a lawyer would be like 28. To be a DA, probably like 30, 30 something.
So you'd want to be a DA in the next 5 years?
I don't think it's possible, but I think it takes a long, long time. Like you have to do a
That's
lot. It's at least like 33. I want to say like at least at that age.
because isn't the district attorney, don't they get voted in? They're not just like assigned, they're voted in by the city, right? Or by voters?
Yeah,
Okay, so you'd have to essentially become a politician.
yeah.
So you still want to be a DA?
Well, I want to be like part of the government in some way. I'm
So you're not really
not
sure?
exactly sure. I might just pursue real estate law and just like get rich.
To real estate law? Like corporate, or are we
Yeah,
talking
like corporate,
homes
like
and things like that?
corporate real estate.
What is the name of that career to do corporate real estate? What exactly would be your title?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. I honestly like I try to take it step by step because if I look into everything, I get overwhelmed. So I look into like the next 2, 3 years, and then I start worrying about like the rest of it. Because I that when I started college, and I was just like so overwhelmed, and every day I would think about it, and it would just bring me down. So right now my focus is the LSAT, and then it's law school.
Okay, so how far out are you from taking the LSAT?
Within the next 6 months for the first
So,
one.
okay, started studying?
No,
Okay.
I could,
Do you
no.
have to do any aside from study?
I have to do the exam, and I want to take a course because I want to get a really good score, but It's like 2K, and right now my money's a little tight.
So with this perspective now, what I'm hearing is a lot of like career focused stuff first. And initially it was a 5-year plan, but now it sounds like it's probably to do, I mean, if you want to just still be a DA, right, that's a probably 35 to 40 in my guess, right? And I have no idea, but I've never seen a under 35-year-old DA, at least in California. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I could be wrong. And then with the next steps, you said money's kind of an issue for the LSAT and or no, taking the prep course. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So it looks like the longer you wait with your career or the longer your process is, dating is going to be on the back burner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think the dating market will look when you're done reaching the point of your career that you want to reach? And how many years will that be from now?
This is the part where you tell me I'm gonna hit the wall.
I mean, we all hit the wall somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
But it just, when you start putting dates and times and things on that, like, if that's whatever's important to you will come first. And then the other thing that we might think will still be there later may not be. And that's just because of biology and whatnot, and obviously social connections.
Yeah. I mean, kids are not like a part of my plan, so I don't think that.
So, right. But I'll put it this way. So one could be dating in their, 30s and 40s as a female, and it'll be a very different dating market than when they're in their 20s. I'm sure if you know some 40-year-old women now, ask them what dating is like today versus when they were in their 20s and how frustrated they probably are if they're not married and all that. I saw a post on someone's page earlier about how dating in her 40s is just fucking horrible. But when she was in her 20s, it was just fine. But culture has changed in the last, she was in her 20s probably 10 to 15 years. So I can't imagine what it'll look like, 15 years from now for you. I don't know where culture will be, but it always goes in one direction. And I'm not going to get into that because that is not for the internet. But I just wonder if you wait too long, will the option still be there for you?
I see your point.
Or the options you even want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of man would you want?
College educated, career driven, stable, fun on the weekends, share similar interests. Like,
how old do you want him to be?
At least as old as I am, like my age or older.
So if you're waiting until 35, 40 or old, you want him to be around that age.
Yeah.
Is there a certain amount of money you want him to make?
Like 80K, 60K. Yeah.
80? 80 or 60?
60 to 100. Right there.
That's a big range. I want you to give me a 5K range.
Oh my God. Okay. 70 to 70.
This is reality. We're doing this. Okay,
Yeah.
70 to 75. So 70 to 75,000?
Yeah.
And you want him to be in California?
Not particularly. California men suck.
Are you willing to move somewhere else to meet somebody else?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, we'll start with single men in California. How many? Now, I also want to I don't want to include actors and entertainers, right? Because that's like a different level of finances. And I
Yeah,
also don't want to include athletes because that's just like too easy, right? Like the minimum is obviously going to be around that. So this is just for earning for all men. Wait, hold on. Yeah, how many men? And this is probably married men, single men, gay men, everything, right? The percent of men making, you said 70 to 75,
yeah.
is 31.85% of men in the U.S. That's all men who make that much money. That might also include athletes and all of that. Is that the percentage you thought would be the answer?
No, I'm not surprised. I've never really thought about it.
Okay. So less than 32% of men make that much money right now. Now, obviously, it's going to be less because men who are maybe too short for you. How tall do you want your guy to be? That's another good question.
Even short men. Why do I have to fall into the stereotype of, oh my, taller than me?
Wait, it totally cut out. You said stereotype of what?
Yeah, like there's a whole stereotype where women will not date men who are shorter than like 6 foot tall, and that's not true.
Yes.
That's not.
Okay, so you would?
I've dated men who are like 5'5".
Would you date a guy who's under 5 foot?
No, no offense.
Okay. So how tall are you?
5.
You're 5 foot even?
Mhm.
So he's gonna have to be at least how many inches taller than you? 2, 3, 5?
4.
So he's gotta be at least 5'4"
Yeah.
and make 75K.
Yes.
Okay. And he's gonna have to be at least your age.
I mean, he could be like 28.
But I mean, if we're talking the 10 to 15 year range, if you said you want to wait until after your career, then we're talking 40s, 35 to 40.
Okay. 28 to 40. How about that?
You want him to be 28 or you want to be 28?
He could be 28.
How old are you going to be?
35, right? That's what we said?
Yeah. Okay. So, you know I love you. How likely, not possible, but probable, is it that you think a 28-year-old man is going to seriously date for marriage or long-term relationship a woman who's 35 to 40 years old and a career woman who's not going to give him any children?
I don't know. You have the statistics, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, that's just likelihood. I just want to hear like your perspective. As a man, I don't think that would be very likely. As a 28-year-old man, when I was, because obviously I'm not now. Women who were, God, let me see. The oldest woman I've ever seriously dated was a year older than I was, and that's just me, right? I'm just talking about myself, but I don't know of any men seriously dating, celebrity-wise or in the regular world, on a high probability, men who are 28 that are going to date women who are career women 35 to 40 who are not trying to give them children and are career women. So they're going to be busy. I don't know if a 28-year-old guy is going to want a woman who's going to be that busy.
I don't know.
So anyway, so he's got to make 70 to 75K. He's got to be at least 5'4". He can be 28. What's the oldest guy you would date? Like, how many years older than you would you go up?
Like 10.
10 years. So, okay. So, all right. So he could be and how many years below you would you date? So what's your range there?
Below me, probably like 6 or 7.
6?
Yeah.
So 6 below you. So if it were right now, it would be 19 to 35 would be your range?
Let's say 5. 20.
Okay. People are going to call you a groomer. You know what I mean? They're going to say you're trying to molest somebody.
Well,
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding more context to that less than 32% of men who make 70 to 75K a year as of right now. I think this was, I don't know how old. Oh, this was 2011. Whatever. It's not that old. So he's got to be at least 5'4". So that takes out a percentage of men. He's got to be between this age and that age. That takes another percentage of men, right? So the more you add to it as far as your stipulations and your parameters, your boundaries, which is fine to have them, it's just the reality becomes more clear and the probability becomes smaller and the likelihood becomes smaller. I mean, people can rely on anything's possible, but probability is another thing. So if you want to have that, I think your best bet would be to do it at a younger age than to wait until your 40s, because I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, I could probably look it up. Women who get married over the age of 40 in California. Let's see. What percentage of women over 40 get married in California? Married in their 40s. Let's see. Not until age 27 is there a 50% probability that men will have married for the first time. The probability of first marriage by age 30 is 74%. Let's see. Oh, the probability of first marriage by age 40 is 86% for women and 81% for men. Oh, by age 40, not in their 40s. That's different. Oh, getting married at 40. Here we go. The rates of first marriages, this is from last year, in midlife have increased by 74% for women and 45% for men between 1990 and 2019, according to a study published in June. That study also found out that 10% of people marrying for the first time are ages 40 to 59. So it's increased 74% for women and 45% for men, but what that actual number is doesn't mean that it's still high. It could just mean that if it was 10 and increased 74%, it's a little less than 20. You know what I mean? So I don't know what that number is. I'm not going to do all the research right now because that would be rude. But while it is on a rise, there's still that option of the likelihood, and that's where reality kind of comes in. And just the point is basically your probability is likely going to be higher the younger you are than the longer you wait as a woman, as a female. And that's all I'm saying.
I get it.
Am I an asshole?
No, this is not anything that I think about these things. I don't really, as of now, I haven't placed any importance on these concepts.
Yeah.
Because I hate men.
Yeah. And because you what?
Because I hate men.
Oh, that's going to decrease it even more. I forgot. Politically, you know, that 32% or less than 32% of men who make that much, how many of them are going to be the opposite political party than you? And how important is that?
Um, well, I feel like right now nobody has like a political party shouldn't even be a thing because it's just like one.
Right. But
It's
if
like
you
belief.
are a certain political party that you're dedicated to, and you meet someone who's a great guy, but he's another political party that you just like vehemently despise, would that keep you from marrying him or being with him long term?
I don't think so. Just because like most of the time it doesn't matter if you're what political party you are. If you agree on certain beliefs, and I think that that's okay.
Are there certain beliefs you're not willing to change or settle on a disagreement and just say we disagree, but it's okay? Or are there certain ones that like, you know, if you disagree, you're like, fuck that, I'm not changing on that one, or I'm not going to settle down with someone who thinks that.
Mm. Like if you're like if you hate immigrants, if you don't believe in marriage, um, if you think that Catholicism should be a big part of the government.
Okay. So, theocrat, someone who hates immigrants. So, you probably wouldn't want to date a Republican or a conservative.
There are certain conservatives that don't like actively try to take other people's rights away.
Sure. I agree. There are. I would say it might be harder to find them because once culture sets in, people are really attached to that culture, and then it's hard to kind of get away from that.
Yeah. Well, I
So
also wouldn't.
that just further minimizes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I also wouldn't like to be super involved. Like, I wouldn't get along with someone who was not okay with listening to other people's opinions despite having their own opinion and seeing the value in other people's logic.
Okay. So someone who's kind of easy to get along with.
Yeah, I guess.
Would you say you attract people like that to you?
I think I do, and then I think I don't. I think that I don't because I'm easy to get along with most of the time. So people with really strong opinions tend to get along with me, and then I don't like I will not shoot down someone's opinion, you know. I will be like, okay, like I see your point. So I think that it actually attracts
Yeah.
it attracts people who are very like strict on their way of thinking and their way of life.
Yeah, I would think that as far as marriage and long-term relationships, from a man's perspective and talking to men, we don't like being with women who are constantly nagging or argumentative or just constantly nitpicking and that kind of stuff. Like, there's a time where it's like, all right, let it go, we disagree. And there's a time to obviously hang on to something if it's super, super, super important. But otherwise, it's like not everything really needs to be argued. It can just be that you can have peace in the house without having to be right. And just like, what's more important? Is it to win this argument or to have peace in the house?
Are you asking me?
Basically, can you swallow your pride in an argument if you're just stuck on a topic and you don't want to let it go? Can you swallow your pride and say, okay,
I think I can. I think I have in relationships. Maybe not like to the
would any of your
huh?
any of your ex-boyfriends say that?
I don't talk to them. I don't know what they would say.
Well, when you were with them, when you were dating them or whatever, um, did they ever complain to you about you, and what would they complain about?
Um, the biggest complaint that I would get is like you always want to do something. Like I had a really long relationship with somebody who was a very like he was very stable. He was stable. He liked what he liked, you know. He liked to come home, like relax, you know, like watch TV, whatever. And I'm like, let's go out. Like it's the weekend. Like let's do something, right? Let's go visit this place. Let's go visit that place. And I was be like, I'm tired. I'm tired. And it's like, I get that people are tired. I get that people work, but I work too. I I was also working and I was in school and I had like this guy being like, "Oh, you never cook for me," blah blah blah. And I was like, "Bro, I have like 2 jobs. You have one."
Well, that's the other part of a relationship and a marriage is I know people are trying to get away from the whole marital roles, but I don't know if that's really working out very well because the more I see people getting away from that, the more I see relationships not working. So I don't know if that's something you'd ever be willing to compromise on, not necessarily every night of the week or something like that, you know, not trying to make you become a chef, but just for a man who'd be looking for a wife, he might be looking for a hot meal a few times a week instead of eating out or having to order out or whatever. And eating out obviously costs money, and having groceries at home saves a whole lot of money very quickly. So would that be something you'd be willing to compromise on?
I have. I feel like I did my best to work on that and I feel like I tried to be that like female role, like the domestic. I tried, but at a certain point it was just like, okay, like I'm doing all of these things and I'm like pursuing like a certain specific career and I'm like tired, you know, and you have one job, you know. So at a certain point it just felt so uneven and I felt like I was giving up so much that I was like you don't make my life better. So
Would he say you made his life better?
I I think he would. I think he would. Up until the end, like when it got like really like messy and it was ending already, I would really encourage I encourage the people that I care about. So I would really encourage them like, hey, like maybe you should save more money, like stop spending on this, you know, like think about what you want to do, like just besides this job that you have, like is there a way you can move up in this job? Is there a way you can like, I don't know, gain more skills and like, you know, be part of the company that you're working for, you know? I like to go to the gym, so like I would push him to come with me, which was actually like how we felt for each other. We would just go to the gym like every day. And then at a certain point, like he didn't want to go and he gained like a lot of weight. And I still stayed and I still got to the point where I felt like he was just dragging me down.
How did he gain weight? What was he eating?
It was like it was partly because of COVID and the gyms were closed, But then also whenever I would go work out or I would go outside and run or something, he just didn't want to do it. Or he would just eat like a lot of like really unhealthy food. I was like, I gained weight too. Like I gained like 10 pounds, but I lost it again. And he didn't come on that journey with me. And I told him to save money, and then like a year later, he was even more in debt. And I was like, what are you doing? We're supposed to get better, not worse.
Sounds like he could have used a hot meal at home
I don't
instead of eating,
think it's
right?
I would. It's not like I would work, so I would cook and I would clean and everything because it was COVID. So I had like 2 months where I didn't have a job, and I would cook and clean and do all that, and it was still the same. So if someone doesn't want to push themselves up, it's because they don't want to do it, you know.
What did
And that's
he do for a living?
he did security. Still
Okay.
does.
And how long did that relate?
How long did it last?
Yeah.
2.5 years.
Okay.
So I gave him
And
plenty
why
of time.
did you break up with him?
Yeah, I did.
Broke up with him. Okay. Because why?
Because he was dragging me down. I feel like he was requiring too much of me without giving me like the same amount.
So you believe in 50-50 in relationships?
Yeah. Not to the
So 50-50 bills, 50-50 thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be okay. Unless someone makes like a lot more money. But like
Yeah.
don't tell me that I need to cook for you and clean for you and provide emotional support and physical support, and you're over here just chilling, because that doesn't work. You have to at least be there for me. And it's like this person wasn't even there for me. Like I don't know, I got to the point where our conversations were just so horrible. It was so blank. It was like talking to like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know.
Okay. I hear that. I hear that. It can definitely be very difficult to be with someone who is just not bringing it to the relationship, or someone who's expecting too much, or what have you. Now, you said at some point you weren't working, so you guys were living together?
Yeah.
So you weren't working, so how's that 50-50 if you're not working?
Oh, well, I was getting that COVID unemployment. So I was still getting like some money. So it was not like I wasn't contributing.
And how much money were you getting? Was it enough to cover your half of the rent or
Yeah.
mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was still working every day?
Yeah.
Sounds like you needed someone to cut him some slack. It was a tough time during COVID for a lot of people.
Yeah, but then it ended and he still didn't change anything.
Not at that time.
It ended. It had been over with for a little while.
A little while. Yeah, now it's been, I don't know, I still see people wearing masks and stuff. It's not over for everyone. And the bigger you are, if COVID hits you, it's going to be harder to recover.
I
Just
feel
saying,
like
he probably could a healthy meal at home.
I feel like I gave him plenty of chances to, you know.
So have you ever been broken up with?
Yes. Um,
What was that like?
it sucked. it, it really sucked.
What was their reason for breaking up with you?
The first, I, I, I got married to the first guy that I ever fell in love with, and he broke up with me because I got too emotional.
Okay.
Because I was,
Too emotional about what?
well, I had like an implant in my arm for birth control, so I would cry at like the bee commercial for the Honey Bunches of Oats.
Oh, okay.
And like it was just, and then we were just fighting a lot. We didn't see things the same way. Um, yeah, we were just fighting a lot basically, and he decided that he wanted to go and date other people, and then I kind of went nuts because it was my first love, and I was very dramatic.
Mm. I sense some anxiety or some sadness about your story just now from you.
Yeah, it was sad. It was a
Yeah.
difficult point. If I When we got divorced, I quit school for like a semester, and I I got on some antidepressants, and it was just a lot. I never experienced that before. And also being on like hormones and stuff, it just made it so much worse.
Now I'm going to provide a point that you're probably going to slap me for later, which is COVID-19 and that whole lockdown. That was something different for people too. People were not adjusting well to it. I don't know anyone who was like, "Oh, this is great." It was hard for people. So a situation like that created depression for people, weight gain, all types of things. And I think people need more grace and patience when going through something very life changing. Like when you went through your divorce, and obviously there's still some sadness from that and anxiety and whatever is still there. Um, I couldn't imagine you going through something and your friends saying, "Well, it's over now. Just get over it." Like it's life changing shit for you, right? I'm not saying COVID's the same as divorce, but just in terms of how people's lives are affected by big life changes and how they adjust to those things along the way and after can be very different for everyone. And so sometimes it's like with marriages and relationships, we're going to go through tons of stuff. You know, I'm sure you have a book you could probably write about things you've experienced in dating, relationships, marriage, etc., and just the things you've been through and what you learned from all that. But I think the other part of it too is sticking with people when they're going through shit and not kind of cutting them off because it's tough. Because I hear the phrase a lot, "I didn't sign up for this." And I think when it comes to marriage and certain things, it's like, well, in a way, I think people actually did. They didn't specifically sign up for that one thing that happened. But I think, like I told you before, it's just for better, for worse, sickness and health till death do us part. That part, if that's not instilled in the relationship as it's progressing and developed to a marriage, then what's going to keep it together when shit hits the fan? And so that's just my perspective on like when shit gets hard, you got to stick together. And if you aren't willing to do that before you're married, if you were to get married again and there's another pandemic, lockdown, whatever, because obviously people say it was planned and the whole thing and whatever. But if that were to ever happen again, people may not adjust to it as well as they did last time. It might get worse. It might be longer. There might be more deaths. There was monkeypox going on and COVID too. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was all types of shit. But I think people need some grace sometimes when they're going through stuff because we're all going through it, but experiencing it differently from our own perspectives.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't just break up with that guy because it was like COVID stuff. It was also I at a certain point, I realized this is not the kind of person that I'm going to build my life with, because
Yeah.
we don't move forward together, you know?
What made you move in with him?
Youth.
Dick.
No, it was just like it was like right at the moment, and we did it too quickly probably, but yeah, I don't regret it. I think it taught me a lot. Like now when I
You were
started
impulsive?
either I was impulsive, yeah, we were impulsive. Um it was a good relationship up until the end. You know, he stole my dog. I don't know if I told you. He stole my dog. But yeah, he was just, I don't know. He was just not the kind of person that I would have had like a positive life with.
Okay. I hear that. Well, I don't have much more for you. Do you feel like you learned something today?
I'm gonna hit the wall.
Absolutely, you are at some point. Um, I would say whatever. It's horrible, you said?
Yeah, it's horrible. Like
Yeah.
everyone, even like older guys, even like 30, 31-year-old guys are like, oh, like I'm not ready to commit yet. Like, you know, it's like, why am I gonna go waste my time when I could be reading a book? Like
Are you ready to commit?
I never said I was. I want to even, they can't even exclusively date you. Like if I'm going to date somebody, I want to exclusively date you, right? And only you. And they don't even want to do that. You don't really get to know if you want to build your life with somebody until like a little bit after being with them. So how are you even
Dating
supposed to get to,
a guy who works at Walmart.
huh?
Dating a guy who works at Walmart. See? I wonder about you women. I think some of y'all really want like the cream of the crop, but goddamn, it's a small percentage of men up there, especially when you start adding all your specific.
I don't need someone who like makes so much money. Like I just, you know, the post office
Mm-hmm.
guy I told you about is getting a chance. He's getting a fair chance. But it's
Which
been,
guy
I
at the
don't know
post
how long.
office? Where
Huh?
I don't remember the post office guy. Is this the guy from Tuesday you texted?
Yeah.
So he texted you back.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Uh he said I was probably just being too I probably just got too carried away, and that's why I said all those things.
Wait, he said he got carried away?
Yeah, because remember I told you he kind of like scared me because he was like, I'm gonna make you fall in love with me, like blah blah blah. And I was just taken aback. I was not ready. I'm not ready. Like I'll go date with you, but I'm not ready to like, I don't know, open up like that. Like just let's get to know each other first.
Isn't that the goal though? To fall in love and all of that shit?
Yes, but you don't straight up say that. Like it like that's scary. That's a scary. It's like women women have
Look
this
at my
thing
face.
when love bombing, because that that's what certain guys do. They will just tell you all those things in the beginning, and then eventually when you finally like give in, they peace out. And that has happened to me, and it happens to a lot of women. So maybe you should think about that.
Who's helping you pick the men you're dating?
No one.
Hmm.
I need a whole council now. I need a whole council to help me pick
Hmm.
a date.
I think you need a an older male relative to help you pick the man. To be honest with you, because if you're picking men that you say all these negative things about that have helped you create this "you hate men" perspective, I know you were kind of joking, but you're kind of not. Then maybe it needs he likes you. One, two, he's intentional by saying what his intentions are of getting in a relationship with you, and it sounds like he wants to have a future because everything you said about him wasn't like, oh, he's a fucking drug dealer, he's doesn't have a job, he doesn't, it's positives, but the way you phrase them makes them sound negative. And I'm like, this is a guy who's intentional and wants to be with you, and it sounds like that scared you.
Because he doesn't know me that well. He's only known me for like a couple of weeks, and we've had a couple conversations. It's like, how can you say that about somebody right away like that?
He likes you.
Okay, but I've
He
had
like
other and say those same things, and then it's like, bye.
he's not the same guy as the other guys. You got to stop
Well,
bringing
that's
your old stuff to new
like,
relationships.
okay, but there is such a thing as like learning, from the past.
Sure, if it's a really bad, like traumatic situation, but he's not doing anything traumatic. The trauma or whatever the bad situation happened with someone else. So there is still letting the past go and being in the present. So that way you're not triggered by someone saying they want to spend time with you and they like you, make you fall in love with me. Yeah, it's strong, but it's intentional. I think in my perspective, that's how a man is. He comes out with his intentions and say, "This is what I'm looking to do. This is what I want to do." He didn't say he just wants to, sleep with you and just send you a bunch of D pics, did he?
No, no, but sometimes they say that and that's what they want too. You've never felt that.
Well, if that's the case,
Where it's like someone tells you they really care about you and they want to like build a future with you, and then like that happens, like they get to sleep with you and then it's like a ghost. Have you ever had that happen to you?
I'm a guy,
Exactly.
so it's different for me. So it's different for me.
Exactly.
So no, I haven't. I wouldn't be in that situation. But also, if that's happening to me, I'm doing something that needs to change. Something needs to change in the way I'm handling my relationships. If that keeps happening.
But I feel like that's why women don't trust when men say that, and they still treat them like the same, because they have had that happen to them a lot. Like, ask any woman.
I hear you, which means to me they're picking these men, and these men are treating them like crap when they probably should have had someone else help them pick the man. Because if the picker's broken, you're never going to get the result you're looking for. And if you present every dating relationship with, yeah, but I've been hurt, yeah, but I've been hurt, then you're never going to get past that wall. There's a huge wall that's there because of your past relationships, which come from past decisions that you have to be accountable for. If you're picking these men, you got to be accountable for how that worked out.
Build the system. Build the picking system.
I think exist. It's just a matter of who's going to eventually say, I don't feel this anymore, and I'm not going to do my part that I said I was going to do. And it's hard to build a relationship with someone who's willing to say, I'm out. Because relationships go through highs and lows, ups and downs, hills and valleys.
So your big theory is that women are the quitters.
Well, who files for divorce the most? And outside of beating and cheating, outside of that, who files for divorce the most?
Women.
And what is it? Because I'm not in love with them anymore. We're not getting along. Irreconcilable differences. Emotion shit. And men aren't that emotional regarding relationships. So I think if women want better results, they're going to have to become, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to have to stay more and deal with it. I call it relational endurance. You know, when relationships get tough, can you endure the tough part? Right, I said, without cheating and beating, we're not talking about that. But can you endure the tough parts that suck because you're in a relationship that's supposed to go further? And if you can't withstand those tough parts, well, when will you ever? And if you're not developing that emotional, relational muscle, how will it ever grow? How will it ever get stronger? If every time something gets tough, you bounce. Most of the women I talk to and that I've known and all of that, most of the relationships they broke that ended for them, whether it was a marriage or a dating relationship or whatever, they ended them most of the time. I would say overwhelmingly 80 to 90% of the time they say that they broke up with that guy.
I don't like that idea though. Like women are told to settle so much. They're told to like settle, to stay.
We're settling for you guys too. We absolutely are, because you guys are not perfect. I said we as men, we're settling for women as well. You know, for a guy who might be more virtuous, he might have to settle for a woman who been around the block a couple times. Like, that's the reality. He's either got to get her fresh out of high school and hope she's never slept with anyone, or he's got to wait for her to finish college and gone through the cock carousel.
Ew, gross.
I know, but that's the reality of it, is that men want a woman been through the block.
It's not like you guys haven't been through the block.
Yeah, I know. But it's different because we expect different from women than we expect from ourselves. Because that's how the world works. Unfortunately, it's not fair, but the world isn't fair. That's why we're expected to make more, do more, protect, provide, all this kind of stuff. We're expected to do a lot of that stuff, but it's not fair because 50-50. You know, someone breaks into the house and I'm married and the wife is like, go check that out. I'm like, shit, 50-50, bitch, you go check it out.
This sounds wrong on so many levels.
Right, but it's 50-50, right? It's equality, but it's not fair. But I'm bigger, stronger, and I could probably do more damage to someone than she could. Because I'm not going to date a woman who's my size. I'm 6'2". Hell no, I'm big as hell. Look at this. I'm not dating a woman like that. But yeah, I hear you. It's not fair, but that is the reality. And from what I'm hearing and seeing, oh, this thing's only, I got 30 seconds left? What the fuck? That sucks. Well, damn. Yeah, I didn't know it was timed. You know what? Hold on. How about this? We're going to end it live and then come right back. You want to try that?
Okay.
Sorry, folks. I got to add her back. I did not know that shit was limited. Welcome back. All right, I don't even remember what we were talking about. It's not fair. Life sucks. What was the last thing I was saying?
The double standard is not fair.
Right. It's not fair. I 1,000% agree with you. It's not fair, but it does exist. You know, I'll put it this way, right? We've been clubbing, hung out before. I've never heard of a guy's free night. Have you? Except for gay clubs, that does not count.
Okay, like to get in for free or like a guy's night out? No, to get in for free, right? Oh.
Nope.
No, I guess
Not fair.
not
Okay.
fair.
I'll go even further outside of relationships, right? As far as what's not fair for men and women. As far as getting shot and killed by the police unarmed, who's more likely to get shot and killed by the police unarmed, a man or a woman, regardless of nationality?
Men.
Okay, last one. As far as the jail population and prison population, who's more likely to be in jail or prison, a male or a female?
A man.
Man, yep, a male. Just saying, life isn't fair, and sometimes it sucks. I get it, and I'm not trying to discount how you feel or your experiences, but I think when it really comes down to it, like I said before, it's about grace, it's about togetherness, sticking with it, and not dipping when it gets hard. Because I'll put it this way: we go to work every day, many of us, right? We go to work. Some people, I mean, they used to work for companies 30, 40, 50 years, right? And as tough as those jobs can be, those people did not quit those jobs, right? They stayed in. They're like, hey, it's fucking time. I got to put in the long hours. My boss wants me to do this, this, and this. I hate my fucking boss, but I'm doing this anyway, right? And then that person comes home. We'll say the woman comes home, and now the kids are loud or whatever it is, and the husband wants dinner, and she just like, shut the fuck up, everyone, leave me alone. Oh, they're putting too much pressure on me. I'm going to leave. Sayonara. I can do this all by myself. Then they find out, being a single parent who's a career person, it ain't easy. You need two people. You really do for physical support, for emotional support, whether it's great or decent or whatever, and also to help out with the children if there were children, right? But we have people who deal with that, but when it comes to the relationships, they won't stay in those. And the jobs, they wear people the fuck out and down. People having heart attacks at the job because they're so stressed out, even from jobs that don't even require labor. It's just a stressful environment. I used to work in this office years ago. The company shut down, but we hated our boss. He was an absolute asshole. He was great salesman, but an absolute asshole. And he was so bad that we haven't worked there since that company shut down in, I think, 2009. It's been, 14 years, 13 years? Almost 14 years. Many of us have still stayed connected, and we do not talk to that man. Because we stayed in a very, very bad relationship, a.k.a. a work environment. So we stay in shit like that, but a work environment where it's not, or excuse me, the home environment where it's not even nearly as toxic, we dip out from those. So I'm like, why are we so married to our jobs, but not married to our relationships? There, I'm throwing it out there.
Because you can't immediately see the benefits of the relationship. Like a job pays you.
I knew it was coming.
But like,
I knew you'd say it.
It's harder to like. It's easier to say, oh, like I don't even get anything. Like all I'm doing is getting like depressed or whatever, or like Not that it's right.
I had a feeling. Right. But it sounds like if you got paid, or just, because I've heard this before from people, It's the, well, they're paying me to stay there. So it's like the man is not even seen as worthwhile for what he provides in a relationship, whether it's financial by paying his half or because of or maybe he's paying all the rent or all the mortgage, or it's his home already and he moved her in. It's like he's not even seen as valuable. And then obviously I could go to another thing about how when divorces happen, who gets the house and the kids, and who has to pay alimony? Women get the house and the kids, man pays the alimony.
Sometimes the man is not bringing much. He's expecting 50-50, and he's not even, bringing emotional support or loyalty even. It's easier for the guy,
Mm-hmm.
but the girl, she's, a lot of women, they can provide the whole 100 for them. So why are they gonna want to be with someone that wants 50-50?
Those are things people are going to have to work out in the very, very, very early stages of a relationship before they even get to marriage. And I don't think that's happening enough. I think people, like you said earlier, you were being very impulsive when you moved in with that guy. I think that happens far more frequently than we think it does. And I think the more that happens, the less likely people are going to have long lasting marriages because they've already kind of been playing house, essentially.
Mm.
So is that a requirement for you to live with a man before you were to be with him again as far as marriage, if you were to get married again, or?
No, I don't think I would want to live with somebody.
You wouldn't do it again?
I don't think so.
So then that means you'd have your own place and he'd have his own place and you guys would just jump back and forth?
Unless it was like we're getting married, then we can combine everything. But just dating, like, nah, I'm good.
Okay. So when you date, do guys say what their intentions are early in the relationship when they say, hey, look, I do want to be married or I do want to just mess around? Do they tell you what they're doing, or do they just you guys just start and figure it out?
Um, Let me think. I don't think that I've even had enough experience to be like a good metric. Because I've only been married, and that was horrible because we were 19. And then after that, I started seeing somebody, and they're like, yeah, like we're together, as a couple. But that was someone who just said that, and then eventually it was like, I'm disappearing. And after that, it's just a lot of dudes who they don't even know what they want. And I didn't know what I wanted because I was young too, so I didn't even know how to approach that conversation. It wasn't even in my mind.
Mhm. So if this is continuing to happen, what are you willing to change going forward?
I think that I have changed. Like, I will have that conversation, like, in the beginning.
Hmm.
But it's just hard because a lot of guys lie. I had this conversation with someone like a couple months ago, and the guy was like, well, that's too much for me. And I'm like, well, that's how it is. That's, if you want to date me, then you have to only date me. Like, I've known you for a little while, so, like, you should already know if you want to date me or not, right? I think it was just too
Yeah.
young.
Okay. So So as far as going, so what are you willing to change then? Or does it sound like nothing is going to change?
Well, what?
What did I say earlier about your picker? Are you pouting?
Yes, because I don't know. I'm actively. This is like a growing situation. Like I'm actively trying to not fall into like really bad. Like I'm not doing the whole situationships. No, that's not happening. Like I ever ever since like I've gotten fucked over in the past, I'm like, no, that's not happening. That's like we need to value ourselves more. Come on. Like, you know? So that's something that I changed. Will I change in the future? Um date date guys with stability rather than I don't know.
Okay. Where where are those guys?
At work. um
Which work?
Happy hour on Tuesdays because they just got off their job. Yeah, I think so, right? Am I wrong?
Could be, yeah, like a corporate guy or a guy who works in the office all day. Like, yeah, he might be at happy hour on Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't know whatever day, but yeah, they might be there at a bar. Do you really want to meet somebody in a bar?
No, no, I don't want to meet anybody at a bar.
Okay. So then, where would you be willing to go to meet men that are quality for you?
Where is there? I don't know, like the grocery store. You talk to people at the grocery store in line.
You could. You talk. Would you talk to a clerk, a cashier?
No,
Why?
because I've had that job. I feel like you have to be doing better than me because you're a
So he needs to
guy.
make more money.
Yeah.
So that eliminates your 50-50 argument.
It's not that I need it. It's just like I I don't want to like if I want to go out somewhere and I can pay for it myself, why do I need to go with you? You know?
So you're not alone by yourself at 40 and a spinster.
So I'm going to pay for that for the dates then cuz you can't afford to
Or
go
just
out.
don't. Or just don't. It always costs money. Like, can you not just spend time with a guy and just be without having to spend money and spend 60, 70, $100 every time you go out?
It's not about that. Okay, this is actually I have a story, okay? So, with my ex, the one that I lived with, the one that stole my dog, motherfucker, um he and I went to New York for my birthday cuz I always wanted to go and I was going to go by myself like for that. Like I was already saving up to go by myself before I met him. But then we went together and I wanted to go to this like 5-star restaurant and I could have paid for it like for both of us, you know, but it was my birthday. So I was like, you can't even go halfsies with me to this restaurant on my birthday because you can't afford it because you've made bad decisions in saving and like how to spend your money and like all these other little things that they seem like, you know, like to a man it's gonna be like, oh, she just wants someone for like money, you know, like to sustain her. But to me it's like it shows signs of being able to like build yourself, build your savings, like, restrict yourself from things that you want that are too expensive, that are out of your range. And that's like one of the things that bothered me. It's like I work and I go to school, and you're over here, you can't even go with me to this restaurant for my birthday because you can't afford it, because you've made bad decisions, and because you're in debt.
What could he do?
What do you mean? Like, what could he do, this specific guy?
Like during that relationship, what did he do well?
What did he do?
What did he do well in the relationship?
He was there for me. He was always there for me. Like, if I was going through something tough, or if I was stressed out, like, he would always encourage me and try to be there for me.
Okay. But you didn't like his spending. He couldn't take you to or go halfsies or even foot the whole bill for your birthday at a five-star restaurant.
Well, we split the whole trip. I just wanted that to go to that restaurant, and I couldn't go there because he couldn't afford it. You know?
Was this Hawaii?
No, this was New York.
Oh. Okay. So you want a guy who's, well, it sounds like you want a guy who makes, I mean, you said it before, 70 to 75K. And I think that expectation is just, it's going to be limited. So if you want a relationship that's longer lasting, or do you want a guy who makes a certain amount of money, like you're going to have to prioritize which one is which, because they may not come from the same guy. So the guy who makes a lot of money, he's going to be busy. He's not going to prioritize your emotions. He might cheat, because the more money a man makes, the more options he has. Just like an Instagram model. I'm not landing an Instagram model because it's not happening. And I don't have this either, right? And I don't have status. Mostly it's the money and the status, because DJ Khaled, I am much more handsome than he is, but that dude can pull any chick anytime he wants to, right? Because it's about money and status and what can you do for me, right? So if you want a guy who makes a lot of money, you might have to share him and have to just deal with it, or your guy's going to be there for you.
I don't want a guy who makes a lot of money. I don't want to be with someone who makes a lot of money necessarily. I just want to be with someone who makes the same amount or more.
Do you make 70 to 75K right now?
No, but I'm not gonna date someone who makes like a lot less than me. Cause you're a man.
Have you ever made 70 to 70?
No, not yet.
You're getting into a territory where you want these things, and I don't think you know how you would deal with them when they come.
I don't.
Yeah. So I think you're going to have to maybe change your perspective on what's the most important to you. Because it sounds like it's money, but there's also the expectation that the guy who makes a certain amount of money also has to be there for you emotionally. And I'll put it this way, those two guys don't usually exist in the same person. So you can get you a guy who's going to be there for you, because he's going to be home, he's going to go to work, he's going to eat his lunch, he's going to text a few friends, look at Instagram and look at TikTok during his lunch break. He's going to get back to work. He's going to be home before 5, 6, or 7, and he's going to be off on the weekends or maybe a couple days during the week. and he's going to have a normal, regular life. He might eventually, what they call leveling up, right? And eventually maybe become a manager or a general manager of this thing or that thing. But it may not be the big financial increase that you would hope for or expect. And then you got to add taxes, because no matter how much money you make, well, the more money you make, the more taxes there are. So that's reality.
Okay. I will keep reality in
How much
mind.
do you hate me right now?
I don't hate you. I just
That's all.
no. You know, I appreciate your input always.
Absolutely. I am here for you because you were my Uber driver for several months, and I thank you.
It was like twice.
No, it was more than that because I was drinking a lot, but I'm good now. By the way, that video I took when you picked me up one night, it's still on YouTube.
You took a video?
I just watched it the other day. It's pretty funny. Well, it's funny for me. What'd you say? It was from oh God, when was it? I gotta see. It was last year at some point. I wish I could share it on the internet, but I'm afraid to show it to people I actually personally know. Let me see. There. Oh, I'm on my wrong channel, huh? Oh, hold on. Wait.
Oh, you're on your private.
Oh, everybody in the everybody in the chat right now, go to YouTube and type in, when you can, type in KJ from OC Podcast and follow my YouTube channel. And if you don't, I will come to your house and fight you because I know where some of you live. The video is from 5 months ago. Do you remember this?
I might
You listen to.
answer the question.
Bad Bunny. It's always Bad Bunny. Do you remember this?
No. Oh, it was 5 months ago.
I wouldn't. I know. I wouldn't remember it either if I didn't record it. It was from September.
Oh,
Damn,
yeah,
somebody hit like
that's
on it.
It
I'll text it to you.
was you.
That's hilarious. Anyway. Well, I'm glad you joined me. This is my first live in like years. I've never gone Instagram live, I think. But did you enjoy this?
Yeah. It was a lot of the things that we had already talked about, though.
Mm-hmm. Am I ever wrong?
So far, no.
Okay. Just letting you know. I just messaged you.
Yeah, I see it.
Anyway. All right. We're going to have a follow-up
All right.
in maybe a few months. Have you back on. Or maybe I'll have you on every week, and you can tell me your experiences in life and why life is wonderful.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow when you come pick up my laundry, okay?
Jesus Christ, I'm not picking up your laundry, sir.
Modern women. Can't tell them shit. Can't tell. All right. I'll see you. Bye.